Dad reviewed dashcam footage after crash, froze at what he saw. The road twisted like a ribbon through the rain-soaked hills, every curve glistening under flickering streetlights. Daniel kept both hands tightly on the wheel, jaw clenched, eyes scanning the winding road ahead. Beside him in the rear view, the dim silhouette of his son, Liam, sat curled under a hoodie, eyes closed, earbuds in. It was supposed to be a simple drive home. A late-night visit to Daniel's sister had turned into a longer-than-expected dinner. But the quiet ride back gave Daniel time to glance at Liam, to study the boy he barely felt he knew anymore. Since the divorce, Liam had become quieter, more withdrawn. This drive, like all of them lately, felt like borrowed time. Then came the figure. Out of nowhere, bathed in the full glare of his headlights, a girl stood in the center of the road. Pale, dripping from the rain, barefoot. No more than 16. Her eyes met his for just a second. Daniel swerved hard. The tires screamed. The world tilted. Metal twisted. Glass exploded. When everything stopped, the SUV was upside down. Smoke hissed from the crumpled engine. The windshield was a shattered mosaic. Daniel's shoulders screamed in pain, but he twisted around, panicked. Liam! A groan. Then a cough. Liam was okay. Bruised, rattled, crying, but alive. The girl was gone. Police would later tell Daniel no one was reported missing. No girl had been seen. No surveillance caught a thing. The muddy roadside showed no footprints. It was officially just a crash. A random, unfortunate accident. But Daniel couldn't forget her eyes. 3 days later, sitting in a sling with painkillers dulling the ache, he opened the dashcam footage and watched the night fall apart. The file was time-stamped 10:42 p.m. The footage began the way Daniel remembered. Rain, wipers, the curve of the road. Liam's reflection, faint in the window. Static buzzed at the edges, a side effect of the cheap dashcam. He fast-forwarded. Then, just before the swerve, he saw her. The girl. But in the footage, she didn't look the same. Her face was hollowed. Her mouth moved rapidly, whispering something as she stood still, unmoving. Her hands hung at her sides, palms out, as if waiting to be taken. Daniel froze the frame. Zoomed in. Her eyes, wrong. Too large. Almost reflective. Her mouth continued moving even as her body stood still. Frame after frame. Then she lifted a hand and pointed. Not at the car. At the camera. And the screen went black. Daniel's breath caught. He rewinded. Same thing. Frame by frame the girl stared. Then pointed. Then, blackness. But something strange happened after the crash. The camera came back on. Only for 5 seconds. 5 seconds where the screen showed Daniel still unconscious, bleeding slightly from the head. But behind him, in the back seat, sat 2 figures. One was Liam. The other? A girl, soaked in rain. Whispering into his ear. Daniel didn't sleep that night. The footage looped in his head like a curse. When he confronted Liam the next morning, the boy's face went pale. I saw her, he whispered. Before the crash. Daniel knelt beside him. What did she say? Liam didn't answer. Instead, he walked to his backpack, pulled out a piece of paper, wrinkled, torn at the edge, and handed it to Daniel. It was a map. Hand-drawn in pencil. A road through trees. A left turn that didn't exist on any GPS. At the end, a house. A tall, dark house with no windows drawn in. Just one word written underneath. Remember. Where did you get this? Daniel asked. Liam shook his head. It was in my jacket after the crash. I didn't draw it. Daniel drove that route the next day. Took the same road. And halfway through the winding stretch, he noticed it. A small dirt path, barely visible, overgrown with vines. No signs. No markers. Exactly where the girl had appeared. He turned in. The path stretched deeper into the woods than it should have. His phone lost signal. The dashcam flickered. And then he saw it. A house. 2 stories. Windows boarded shut. The air around it felt heavy. Like it resisted being seen. He stepped out of the car. The leaves crunched beneath his feet. Then he heard it. A scream. From inside. Inside the house, It smelled of mold and burnt wood. Furniture lay collapsed in corners, untouched by time yet somehow decayed. Daniel's steps echoed. He followed the scream, or what remained of it. A fading sound. A whisper stuck in the walls. Upstairs, he found a room with a broken TV sitting in the center. Dusty VHS tapes lined a shelf beside it. All unmarked, except one. It read, "Replay." He inserted it. The screen flickered. Then showed him something he hadn't expected. His father. Young, clean-shaven, wearing the same look of quiet dread Daniel often carried. He was holding a clipboard, speaking into a camera. "This is trial 12. Subject shows signs of psychological decay after memory reimplantation. Facility must be sealed. The memories, they're leaking." The tape cut to footage, grainy and distorted, of a girl, strapped to a chair, whispering over and over, "You have to remember. You have to remember." Daniel staggered back. His father had died 20 years ago. He was a math teacher, or so he thought. He scanned the room. On the back wall, scratched into the plaster, were the words, "You forgot us. Now we're remembering for you." Then the screen went black. Daniel left the house shaking. But the story didn't end there. When he got home, Liam was different. He smiled more, spoke more. But sometimes, late at night, Daniel would hear his son whispering in his sleep, repeating the same words the girl had. "You have to remember." And then came the drawings. Pages of strange symbols. Of that same dark house. Of people with eyes scratched out. One night, Daniel woke to find Liam standing in the hallway, staring at the blank TV screen. Whispering. "What are you doing?" he asked. Liam turned slowly. "She says you forgot," he replied. "She says you made them forget too." Daniel didn't know what that meant. Not until the static started bleeding into his own memories. Not until the girl appeared in his dreams, standing in the road, always pointing at him. His father wasn't just a teacher. He had worked on something buried. A government-backed memory project. A program meant to erase trauma. But it had a flaw. Some memories don't want to be forgotten. And some remember back. Weeks later, Daniel destroyed the tape. Burned the house. Cut the road from the GPS. But every so often, when the TV flickers on unexpectedly, or the dashcam begins recording without input, Daniel hears the voice. So, right behind him. "You remember now, don't you?" And then always, the scream.